So I saved the sphere for last. It is the most difficult because it takes quite a bit of finessing as far as your hand movements, and then you're working not on a straight line, but you're working on a curved line. So your hands have to curve, plus you have to fade with your hand pressure. It's a lot of stuff at once. All right. So we're going to get started on this guy. Notice that the light source is coming from the left. So it's going to be brightest right here. Okay. And then down here, we have the cast shadow from it. All right. So in the shading world, we want to start very, very light, and there will be sort of an oval shape. Some folks like to draw essence of the oval. It's very small, and it is right on the edge, but there's a little bit of dead space here. So don't touch the edge of the sphere with the oval. It sits back just a little bit, and you don't want to draw it too hard. If anything, you might want to draw it with this. Okay. So I'm going to take on drawing this guy with a little bit of dust that's already on the end of my thing, and I'm going to kind of go around it. I'm not going to color it. Look at that. So I went around it because the next kind of area is considered to be our light area, and I'm going to draw sort of a border with it with my stump. Look how it is a curve. It's following the curve of the oval. Okay, it is not a straight line. Straight lines equal flat. Curved lines equal rounded, right? Okay, I'm trying to get myself to autofocus just a little bit better. It's struggling today. All right. So I'm going to continue to shade following the curve. Look at that. I am following the curved line I just put out. It's like we're going around the oval. All right. If you're like, oh my gosh, I put too much on, right? You can always dab with your kneaded eraser and it will lift some of the dust and graphite off. Okay. So this is called our highlight. This is called our light. This next section is sort of our middle value. Okay. This is where we kind of start to use a little bit of pencil. And then down here, we have our shadow, core shadow, because by the time the light starts to travel up and over the sphere, there's going to be some point around middle, which is kind of right here, where things start to get darker on the other side of the globe. Consider that it's the globe. It's daytime over here, it's nighttime over here. Okay. There is a tiny little sliver of bright light that comes from the underside of the sphere, and it happens between the shadow marks. See right there to right there. I'm going to draw myself this little sliver. Look how tiny that is. A little tiny sliver. And this area is going to be a little bit brighter because it's getting light from the other side underneath the sphere. I know it's crazy. So I'm going to start with my H pencil now, my H or my HB pencil, kind of like we've done with other things. We start with the light stuff and then we start to blend out from there. I'm going to also turn this upside down. I find that it is easier for my hand to shade up and over in a curve rather than under. You do you, okay? But I'm going to kind of do this and note, look, I'm trying to follow the same curve that I had before. This is my H pencil. I'm trying to be super light, like barely touching the paper as I kind of fade to what I had shaded before. And sometimes, look at that, the back of the pencil starts to pick a little bit of it up, and it kind of helps you with a little blending as well. Now I'm going to keep turning it because I have to keep going with the direction of the curve, right? Look at me go. All right, I'm still going. I'm doing some little swivels at the edge here to kind of make sure I don't go past my sphere marking. So I'm slowly putting some more of that on. Okay. And then I'm going to go past just a little bit where I marked, because that's going to start to get into the 2B area, right? So I'm going to come over to my 2B pencil. Let's see what condition he's in. There we are, pretty good. Sometimes you have to sharpen to get yourself an edge again, right? I'm going to come over into the HB section just a little bit and fade so that they kind of blend into each other, right? I'm going to keep turning so that I keep pulling up and curve. It is really helpful to turn the paper as you do this. Otherwise, you end up with icky straight flat lines. Okay, now I'm going to enhance this a little bit more. Come in a little bit darker. Okay, now I'm going into the 4B. 4B pencil, I believe, needs a little sharpening. So we'll do a little sharpening. Okay, so coming in really dark. Still following the curves. Okay, this little sliver of light down here is going to come back to one of these. And I'm going to give just a little bit of dusty light right down there at the bottom. Okay, then we are ready for the 6B, 4B, 2B. So here we go with 6B. All right, On this one, you see that there is a background and then there is a wall area. I'm going to ask that you choose some value to make the floor and the top. Don't make the floor darker than 6B, and don't make the table too much darker than the 2B. I would go significantly lighter. So on the floor area, I might come in and do something with an H pencil, okay, shading on the side, so I can have a very light value for the top of this table, and that way the shadows kind of make sense on the table surface. So I'm going to come along here and give myself an even light table color. And it's okay if you hit the sphere because it's so much lighter than the sphere. Okay, now I went horizontal because it's the table. Okay, on the back wall, it is a wall, and we feel walls are vertical. So shading up and down is kind of one way to approach this. I want the value of the wall, though, to be a little bit darker than my sphere so it doesn't run into it, but I know that light is happening from over here. So it's going to be brighter over here and get sort of medium over on this side. So I'm going to turn my thing this direction, and I'm going to go vertical. I'm going to change to, where's my HB pencil? My HB. And I'm going to come over here and start to put a little bit more medium value on. You can see in a lot of my videos, I'm using my finger as sort of my stopping guide. It kind of bounces the pencil off and it allows me to stop somewhere. I might even come in with a little bit of my 2B pencil over here, and I'm going to make this a little bit darker just past the circle. All right, so there I have sort of bright to medium light. We have light table and it's horizontal, and we have our finished sphere.